Welcome back to the channel. Hopefully the last video piqued your interest into this project. In this video we're going to check out the damage to the car and see exactly what's wrong with it. Looking in the boot, we've found the rear brake lights, which is a good find. We've also managed to find a bit of trim and some of the fixings for the front and rear bumpers, so that will save us a few quid. So looking at the back of the car, we can see where it's taken impact. One thing we know for definite is the boot doesn't close, so we need to investigate that. So looking at the boot lid itself, there is some damage, so we could repair that. The bumper itself doesn't look too bad, but I'm not sure if we're going to end up buying a new one or trying to save this one. You can see the rear lights are damaged, so we'll definitely need a set of those. The rear diffuser, on the other hand, doesn't look too bad, so we could save that. Looking under the engine bay, the front bar seems to look okay. I can't see any serious damage there. You can see a modification done by the previous owner, but we'll leave that for now as that's not going to cause us any problems. Luckily, the suspension is okay, there's no damage. It looks like it could be the original Koni suspension, which isn't too bad because it's a pretty good setup. Right, let's get this bumper off and see how bad things really are. We may be able to salvage this rear bumper. I think using a heat gun we could reform it. Worst case, we'll buy a new one. So looking at the boot lid, you can see it doesn't fully close. It definitely lines up, so that's not the issue, but something's stopping it from closing. Hopefully it's not going to be a difficult issue to fix. Looking at the crash bar, there is some damage to it, but I'm not sure if the body of the car's damaged or if it's the actual crash bar that just moved away. It looks like it could have been pushed up, but I'm not sure because the damage looks a little bit worse on the passenger side. But once we get it off, we'll get a much closer look at it. Looking underneath, I can't see any damage, which is a good sign. There's no damage to the exhaust system, so it couldn't have been a high-speed impact. So let's get the front bumper off and see how bad things are here. Hopefully it's as good as the back end. But no, it's not. So I'd start off with, I can see some damage to the front support bar. I can see that the coolant rad has been pushed back, so has the air conditioning condenser. It's time to start praying to the car gods. Looking at the damage from this angle, you can see that the bumper bar has been pushed backwards. It's actually compressed more on the passenger side than it has on the driver's. It's got a bow in the middle, which has forced the air conditioning condenser and the cooling rad backwards towards the engine. Hopefully that hasn't damaged the cooling fan on the back of that. As the shopping list is starting to grow, two things we don't need to buy are the intercoolers. Luckily they're okay, so we can save a few quid there. This project is starting to get interesting now, but like I said before, I want to keep this car standard. I don't want to make any modifications at this point. It's just to get it back up and running again. Looking on eBay, these cars actually fetch a decent price. They can go for anywhere between £4,000 and £12,000. I didn't pay anywhere near that, as I bought this car as a Category S from Copart. So now that we've got our parts list together, it's time to get some prices and see exactly what it's going to cost us to get this car back on the road. Hopefully it isn't going to be that bad. We contacted Fiat to get a price for all the parts that we need. They can supply everything at a cost of £1,700, which is quite a lot. We contacted Euro Car Parts, but they can only supply the cooling rad and the air conditioning condenser and hardly any other parts. Next, we tried GSF. We use them a lot when buying car parts, but unfortunately they can't help us on this project. Our last option was autodoc. They can supply everything apart from the rear lights, but the saving was massive. I managed to find the rear light on eBay at 50 quid, so that's a good bit of saving. By using autodoc, we can save over £1,300. It might take a week or two to get the parts, but the saving alone, it just makes sense. Autodoc have an app and a website where you can find parts for your cars. I'm not sponsored by any of these companies, but if you do have the time, check out Autodoc. You could save yourselves a lot of money. So that's it for this video. If you like what you see, please subscribe, put the notifications on, and if you got any advice or any comments, please leave them below. And I'll see you guys in the next one.